Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Paramagurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Good day, viewers. Most of us are familiar with our birthday celebrations, marriage rites, baby showers, naming ceremonies, and the like. But how many of us are really aware of such rites as per Hinduism? It is just amazing how Vedic period enunciated major celebrations or stages in a man's life in such elaborate and precise steps. These rites or ceremonies or celebrations which occur in a person's life at various stages are called samskaras in Hinduism. To understand what a samskara is in today's world, a marriage ritual is a samskara, a naming ceremony is a samskara, baby showers is a samskara. However, with the passage of time and disinterest in Hinduism amongst we Hindus ourselves, most of the samskaras are forgotten or not practiced. In this small talk, I will attempt to explain the 16 samskaras of life that need to be done for a human being as per Hinduism, without elaborating on the mantra or the ritualistic aspect, which many Brahmins are aware. If you plan to have a child, consult a Brahmin, take his help as far as the ritualistic aspect is concerned, and beget children who are assets to the society and mankind. The first three samskaras happen even before the birth of a child. The first one being Garbhadana. Garbhadana literally means wealth in the womb of a woman. Procreation is a law of nature and to continue the lineage. And more importantly, in Hinduism, to perform shraddha or death rituals, children are begot or children are considered as an asset. Garbhadana rituals start when a couple decides to have a child, and being in happy state of mind, the union between a man and a woman happens. According to various scriptures, the timing, the way, the type of the food to be consumed. For example, they say boiled rice with butter and sesame seeds are to be partaken to get a baby girl, or boiled rice with pulp of fruits and butter to get a baby boy, and many other factors go in order to conceive a child. There are various mantras and prayers which needs to be recited so that the conceiving happens. You may ask me, or we may think, without any of these so-called mantras or samskaras, there are a lot of babies being born and we are overpopulated. Why these samskaras are mantras? Agreed, a fairly correct doubt. But look at the character of a majority of the people around us. Most people are insanely angry, they are cheaters, they are greedy, and most of them exhibit animalistic behavior in the day to day living, and they have long forgotten the rules of Dharma, nor do they practice it. How many of us around us are honest, loyal, dharmic, helpful, or having the higher or the finer elements of a human birth? Very few. So, follow this samskara and beget good children. That is what the scripture says. Anyways, the next samskara or the second samskara is a pumsavana, which is done in the third month of pregnancy when the sex of the baby is about to be formed. Pumsavana is interpreted as a ritual for the human being in the womb. How so? Here we need to know that as per Hinduism, since soul is eternal, the celebration or the Pumsavana ritual is for the body of the soul which is in that womb. Soul is anyway there. It is for the physical body. This Pumsavana is done. Amid homas and Vedic recitations, here the sex of the baby can be influenced, it is said. The highlight of this celebration is Vedic chants and husband serving the wife. A few drops of milk, butter, and ghee is given by the husband to the wife, which she has to take it through her nostrils. If it is taken through the left nostril, it is said a girl is born. If it is taken through the right nostril, it is said a baby boy is born. I have seen in my circle of relations people or couples doing this Pumsavana Samskara. The third Samskara before the birth of a child is what is normally called as Simanta locally. Many of us are fairly familiar with this because they go by the name as baby showers these days. To ensure the happy mental and emotional state of pregnant women, friends and relatives are invited and feasting is done. The important aspect of this samskara is that the pregnant lady needs to part her hairs on her head into two divisions with a comb repeatedly, like this. The first three times being done by her husband. Many ladies amongst her family members are also supposed to comb her hair symbolically. This is supposed to trigger some nerve endings or some acupressure points which will aid in the healthy growth of the child in the womb. Not sure how many of us know about this, much less practice. There is a wealth of information in our Vedas and Upanishads on every aspect of human life and living. It is a sitting pot of gold to anyone who is willing to explore and pick it up. Now, after these three samskaras, which happens before the birth of a child, the next 12 samskaras happens during the lifetime of the person. And the last one after his death, that is called Antima Samskara. Now, coming to the fourth samskara, which is called Jata Karma. This is done by reciting a mantra by the father to the child on the sixth day or the 11th day of after birth. The mantras that are prayed will let the child grow physically and mentally strong, and the father blesses the baby. The father also dips his forefinger into a mixture of pure honey and ghee and allows the small baby to suckle his forefinger, symbolically signifying or representing his physical and spiritual connection with the baby. The next samskara, that is the fifth samskara, is namakarana or naming ceremony. Lot of importance is given for this, which is done on the 11th or the 12th day after the birth of the child. There are number of suggestions in various scriptures about selecting a name. Naming depends upon the gender of the child, the star of the day, the position of the moon, the alignment of one's faith within Hinduism itself, one's own comfort level in calling a name, the melody, the social acceptance amongst others. Normally, you have seen nobody names their kids as Kumbhakarna or Shurpaniki because these names denote negative qualities of human life. However, some people defy even that. We have seen a so called celebrity naming his son as Taimur, who was a barbarian. The sixth samskara is nishkramana, meaning taking the baby out to the world. Generally done after the completion of third month, the baby is now slowly exposed to the elements of nature and people. The father of the child is supposed to hold him out in the sun and also make him see the moon, the stars, forests, beaches, along with some prayers. Basically, the baby is exposed to the Pancha Mahabhutas. This can be viewed as acclimatization to the physical world. Being in the womb for 9 months and then 3 months indoor, the baby needs to see the reality of the physical world and experience it. Hence, this slow acclimatization is done. This samskara is mostly private, meaning confined only to the child and his parents, more particularly the father. The seventh samskara is annaprashana, meaning the child is now made to taste solid and semi solid food. The baby, all along, which was feeding on the mother's milk, has to be slowly weaned away and start eating the food that is available in the nature. This is generally done during the fifth month, or it generally coincides with the appearance of the baby's teeth. This is done grandly by many families by inviting friends and relatives. Homas and yagnas are conducted for the well being of the child, the parents, and the house. The eighth samskara is chudakarna or mundan or removing the hairs of the child. This is generally done just before the completion of the first year. The head is shaved completely, or in some cases, a tuft of hair is left at the back, and the hairs or the so cut hairs are offered in a place of faith or in a temple. Family and friends join this occasion. This is a joyous occasion. This samskara is also known as an act of purification, purely from a hygienic point of view. Till the first year, the baby skin being tender, hence shaving cannot be done. At the same time, despite head baths and other cleansing which the baby undergoes during the first year, a full shave on the head cleans the pate, which allows fresher and newer and richer hair to grow on. The ninth samskara is karnaveri, ear piercing. This is done during third or fifth month of the child. An auspicious day is fixed, and experienced person has to pierce the earlobes of the child. Generally, it is an accepted practice that in case of boys, the right ear is first pierced, and in case of girls, the left ear is first pierced, and then the other ear is pierced. There are many theories on the advantages of ear piercing, both for and against, which I am not covering here. Tenth samskara is Vidyaramba or Aksharabhyasa. This generally happens at the age of 5, unlike the present times where babies are into the kindergarten at the age of 3 or even before 3. Vidya Aramba literally means start of education. So here, the father of the child teaches the child about the alphabets in their mother tongue. Initiation into numbers, pictures, musical instruments will be done to create an all-round receptivity for the child, which helps the child to become quite observant, alert, and sharp during its formative years. The 11th samskara is Upanayana or thread ceremony. Lot needs to be discussed on this particular samskara alone, which I will cover separately in a separate video. In this samskara, basically, three strands of sacred cotton threads are worn by the child amidst Vedic chanting and homas. The rituals are quite elaborate, basically divided into, say, puja, then havana, then shiksha, then diksha, then diksha, and finally blessings from all elders. The entire significance of this samskara is to tell the child and the world that his baby days are over and he has to involve himself in getting educated, meaning in Vedas, Upanishads, and other holy scriptures. More importantly, only after this samskara, he becomes eligible to recite Gayatri mantra as he would have been initiated in the same by his father during this samskara. The 12th samskara is Samvartana. Samvartana means completion of studies by the student, just like today's graduation ceremony or a convocation ceremony. The Guru, after teaching his disciples, will give them final instructions and advice so that the person will be a good sons for their fathers, good husbands for their wives, good father for their sons, and good citizens for the country in the rest of their lives. According to some sources, it is said it is at this point of time the varna of the student is decided, because the guru would have observed the disciple's life when he would be staying with the ashram. Depending upon his observance, the varna is decided, and accordingly he will be put in that particular occupation. Here we have to see an interesting aspect of our Sanatana Dharma at this point of time, because during this time when the student completes all his studies, students are supposed to or can pay Guru Dakshina according to their capacity. There is no capitation fee, no admission fee, donation fee, boarding fees, bus fees, lodging fees, nothing. The education is completely free. And only after the education is complete, the student, along with his parents, can pay to the guru or to the ashram according to their capacity or whatever they deem fit. From such a glorious past, we have fallen into such abyss. It's really pathetic. Anyways, the 13th samskara is vivah or marriage. Great importance is paid in Hinduism about marriage, considering it to be very holy and sacred. And God Agni himself being the witness to the sacred union of man and woman, each committing to be true and loyal. I will not comment much here about the marriages of these days. It is left to the listeners' experiences themselves, which are plenty in their own circles. The 14th samskara is vanaprastha, loosely meaning it is a stage of retirement at 60 or thereabouts. In ancient times, villages and towns were few and forests were in plenty. So at this stage, the person along with his wife will retire into forest area, live there with minimum or basic needs, and contemplate on their fruitful or unfruitful existence or life of 60 years. There is a deep social benefit also in this samskara. At the age of 60, normally the person would have had his children grown up, they would have married, and they would be involved in their own worldly activities. At this stage, the presence of parents in his house neither does good to him nor to the parents themselves. So, retiring into forest is best option. Now we can say in present times, retire into some senior managed living villas or apartments. This will ensure both the parents and their kids and their families live with minimal interferences and unsolicited advices from parents. The 15th samskara is a sannyasotva or becoming a sannyasi. Here in this samskara, the person is supposed to cut all his ties with his family and friends and remain deeply immersed in spiritual activities. More importantly, understanding the ultimate truth of his existence and of God or Godhead by meditating. This samskara is not at all present during the present times. Till death, the person is still thinking of saving money, of his houses, of his sites, his wife, children, grandchildren. This is the Kali Yuga. There is no 15th samskara at all now. Anyways, we come to the last samskara or the last stage of life, which is called Antima samskara. Here also, when the person, this happens when the person dies. Here also, there are elaborate procedures to be adopted as soon as the person dies. The procedures and rituals are explained in depth in Garuda Purana, which I will cover in some other edition. Suffice it to say, at this point, when a person is about to die or about to draw his last few breaths, a procedure needs to be followed. That is, he should be laid on the ground, not on the cot. And tulsi or basil leaves, along with Ganga jal or water from river Ganges, and little gold filings needs to be put in his mouth. However, in modern days, death rarely happens at homes or houses. So neither Ganga Jal nor Tulsi leaves can be given to the dying man. In all probability, most of us die when the ventilator is just switched off after the doctor realizes that the life has gone. I need to reiterate here that, as with many other Hindu rituals, there are divergent views and procedures, even relating to the 16 samskaras, which I have just spoken. Some schools of thought detail out lesser than or more than 16 samskaras and the way they are carried out also. I urge upon the listeners to spread this knowledge of samskaras so that we beget and our children beget worthy sons and daughters following these samskaras. Because if we follow these samskaras right from Garbhadana, the kids are supposed to be more intelligent, more dharmic, more stronger in their lives. The reason being, during the course of many of these samskaras, lot of homas and havanas are done, which will bring in powerful vibes and vibrations so that the kids or the people who are attending that gathering or the child that is being conceived will get the benefit of those vibes or vibrations, and worthy men and women are born in this Bharatavarsha. Hail Hinduism, Om Tat Sat.